Hey, this is Tankerl, and this is the Mate 10, the regular Mate 10 here at the Huawei briefing. And it's a big phone. It's a quite beautiful phone. So let me walk you through some of the specs and features and what's changed since last year. So the biggest noticeable difference is that those bezels have gotten really small, top and bottom, and that's exciting. You can see up there's an earpiece and 8 megapixel f/2.0 camera, and then there's this big display, and down there is a fingerprint reader. Now, the display is a Quad HD display this year, but it's still a 16:9 aspect ratio. That's why the phone seems so wide in my hand, because it's actually shorter, less tall than last year's Mate 9, but about the same width, which is quite a bit wider than current flagships. It's an IPS panel, Quad HD, 16:9, it's HDR10 capable. And then in the back, you have this really cool design. It's, as you can see, glass, so very much a fingerprint magnet, but it has this really interesting bar with the camera that's kind of like, it's part of the glass, but it's somehow etched in to be different looking. And so as we get a little closer here, you can see this dual camera system. This hasn't changed too much since last year, but the good news is both lenses are now f/1.6. So it means we have a 20 megapixel monochrome camera, 12 megapixel RGB camera, and OIS, of course. Basically the same layout as the P10 and the Mate 9, but with f/1.6. So that's really exciting. The Huawei logo down here, and so that's basically the lay of the land. Inside of this phone is a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. That's massive, and there's a Kirin 970, which is the latest chip from Huawei. It's a bit of a powerhouse. It has a neural network processing unit, an NPU, which is, lets it do a whole bunch of AI tricks. You know, I'll get into that into more detail on the podcast, but basically, you know, definitely a competitive performance-wise device. And so here you have the front again, and let me give you a quick tour of the edges if I can. So the headphone jack is at the top. Yes, there is a headphone jack on this model, which is exciting. You can see an infrared transmitter as well, a secondary microphone. On the left-hand side, the only thing you really have is the SIM slot. On the bottom, you have a USB Type-C connector, mono speaker, primary microphone, etc. And on the right-hand side here, you have, obviously, the power lock key and volume rocker. Not sure if you can see those right there, but there they are. So that's kind of the layout, and it's a big phone. It's a bit wide. I mean, it feels nice in hand because it's got these tapered edges, but also it's running Android O, which is Android 8, and EMUI 8 is the skin on top of that. It's pretty fast. Obviously, I haven't really had a chance to play with it much, but it feels okay. The big thing here is a whole bunch of AI-based enhancements. You know, it seems a little gimmicky to me, but I tend to skin my phones anyway with, you know, a launcher like Google Now. But we'll see how it goes in real life. I'm mostly interested in the hardware here, and I think I gave you a quick tour. In terms of storage, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of built-in storage. There's a micro SD card slot in the back in the SIM card area for expanded storage. So yeah, it's pretty much what we expected. Not really edge-to-edge display per se, but it does have this very small bezel at the bottom, and that's definitely new this year for Huawei. So here you have it, the Mate 10. Subscribe and like, etc., etc., and don't forget to listen to my podcast, mobiletechpodcast.com. Cheers, folks.